The big space station called Council Headquarters floated in the darkness between the stars like a giant crystal palace. Inside its main meeting room, 12 different alien species sat around a table that could hold 100 beings. The room was so big that voices echoed when anyone spoke loudly. Today, the aliens were not happy at all. High Counselor Vexstar was the biggest alien in the room. He looked like a giant lizard that walked on 2 legs. His skin was covered in scales that changed colors when he got angry. Right now, those scales were flashing red and orange, which meant he was very upset. His 3 eyes were all focused on a floating picture that showed a blue and green planet called Earth. All the other aliens were staring at the same picture. The bug-like Chitauri were clicking their sharp teeth together, making nervous sounds. The ethereals looked like floating clouds of gas, and they were changing colors very fast, which showed they were scared. Every alien species in the room had good reasons to be afraid of the humans. On the planet Earth, a man named Admiral Kim Day sat in a big room full of computers and screens. He was the leader of all human space forces. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp as he listened to what the aliens were saying. The message was coming from space through special radio waves that could travel faster than light. Standing in front of all those scary aliens was Ambassador Lee. She was the only human in a room full of creatures that could easily kill her if they wanted to. But she stood straight and tall, showing no fear at all. She knew that back on Earth, millions of people were counting on her to be brave. Vexstar spoke in a voice so deep it made the whole room shake. The computer translated his words into human language. He said humans had become too dangerous for the galaxy. In just 50 years since humans first met aliens, they had built cities on 17 different worlds. They had also built a space navy with 3,000 ships, which was almost as big as all the alien fleets put together. The other aliens nodded their heads, or made whatever movements their species used to show they agreed. Each one had their own reasons to fear how fast humans were growing stronger. Some aliens had ruled parts of space for millions of years. Now suddenly, these new humans were everywhere, doing things better and faster than anyone expected. Continued talking. His voice got louder and more threatening. He said the humans had to stop building new colonies right away. They had to destroy most of their spaceships. They had to let the aliens control all the valuable materials on human worlds. If humans did not agree to do these things, the aliens would stop all trade with Earth and might even attack. Ambassador Lee stepped forward, even though she was surrounded by aliens much bigger and stronger than her. She spoke in a clear voice. That did not shake at all. She told the aliens that humans had followed all the rules. Human colonies were built on empty planets where no one else lived. Human trade deals were fair to everyone. Human spaceships were only used to protect human worlds, not to attack anyone, but the snake-like alien called Counselor Zefric did not want to hear any of this. His people had controlled the space trade routes for thousands of years before. Humans showed up with faster ships and better technology. Now human merchants were taking business away from his people, and he hated it. Zefric hissed when he talked, making a sound like steam coming out of a kettle. He said humans were like rats that had too many babies. He said they thought like hunters and spread like a disease. The galaxy had been peaceful before humans crawled out of their gravity, and started causing trouble. Back on Earth, Admiral Kim's helper, Captain Park Min-ho, was getting angry. He leaned forward in his chair and spoke to the Admiral. He said, "The aliens were treating humans like criminals just for being successful. Every human colony was built on a planet where no one else lived. Every trade deal helped both sides. The aliens were just scared because humans were better at space travel and trade than they were." Admiral Kim held up his hand to tell Captain Park to be quiet. He wanted to hear what Ambassador Lee would say next. Through the radio waves, her voice came back to Earth. She asked for 48 hours, so Earth's government could think about the alien demands. But Vexstar was not in a mood to be generous. His scales flashed brighter red as he spoke. He said humans only had 24 hours to decide. After that, alien ships would block all the space routes around human worlds. No human ship would be allowed to leave or enter any star system controlled by the aliens. He said humans would learn what happened when newcomers forgot their proper place in the cosmic order. When the alien message ended, Admiral Kim stood up slowly. His mind was already thinking about all the different things Earth could do. Around him, the command center became very quiet except for the soft humming of computers that were processing information from all the human colonies. Spread across 7 star systems. Admiral Kim spoke quietly, but his voice carried to every corner of the room. He said the aliens thought they could put humans in a cage. They believed fear would make humans obey their orders. For the first time during the whole meeting, Admiral Kim smiled a little. He said the aliens had no idea what they had just woken up. Captain Park frowned as he looked at his commander's expression. He reminded the admiral that the aliens had many more ships than humans did. The combined alien fleets had over 10,000 ships, while humans only had 3,000. Even if there was no fighting, cutting off trade could make the human colonies too weak to survive. Admiral Kim walked over to the big screen that showed Earth's position among all the stars. He told Captain Park that he was thinking like the aliens. Wanted him to think like prey that had been cornered by predators. He pointed to the little lights on the screen that showed where human colonies were located. The admiral's smile got bigger as he looked at all the men and women around him. These were people who had spent their whole lives protecting humanity's place among the stars. He said the aliens had made a big mistake in how they understood humans. They saw how fast humans had spread across space and thought humans were desperate or reckless. They saw how well humans had adapted to life among the stars and thought humans were just lucky newcomers who had stumbled into success. Admiral Kim pressed some buttons on his control panel. The big screen changed to show detailed information about alien territories, trade routes, and military positions. This was secret information that human spies had been quietly gathering for many years. He said the aliens did not understand what humanity really was. They had lived in their comfortable, stable civilization for so long that they had forgotten what it meant to fight for survival. The admiral explained that aliens thought that galaxy revolved around their ancient rules and old power structures. What they did not realize was that humans had never stopped being what made them. Successful on Earth, humans were not just another species looking for a place in the alien galaxy. Humans were the species that had conquered an entire planet, full of creatures that were bigger, stronger, and more dangerous than humans. He reminded everyone that humans were the descendants of beings who had survived ice ages, plagues, and countless wars by adapting, innovating, and never giving up. The command center started buzzing with new energy as Admiral Kim's words sank in. Officers began pulling up files, checking on fleet positions, and establishing communications with Earth's scattered colonies. Admiral Kim said the next 24 hours would determine whether humanity would bow down to alien demands or remind the galaxy why humans had earned their place among the stars through strength, cunning, and an absolute refusal to be intimidated by those who underestimated their determination to survive and thrive. Dr. Han Yujin sat alone in her secret laboratory deep under the city of Seoul. The room was filled with computers that hummed and glowed with strange blue lights. She was Earth's best scientist when it came to studying alien life forms and alien history. Ever seen them? She spoke to the computer using a special code that only she knew. The room went dark and then filled with three-dimensional pictures that showed the real history of the galaxy. The first picture showed Earth as it looked 65 million years ago, when dinosaurs lived there. But this picture was different. From what most people learned in school, there were strange metal pieces buried deep in the rock layers. These metal pieces were not natural. They looked exactly like the technology that aliens use today. Dr. Han looked closely at the metal fragments on her screen. She had been studying them for 20 years. The computer showed how these pieces were built at the tiny level where atoms connected together. The pattern was exactly the same as alien technology, but millions of years older than it. Should be, she whispered to herself as she looked at data that had taken decades to collect. She said the aliens thought they were dealing with primitive newcomers. She was in charge of humanity's most advanced military research center. For years, she had been building ships and weapons that were supposed to be impossible for humans to create. The aliens thought human technology was hundreds of years behind their own. They were very wrong about that. Her assistant engineer, Kim Bura, ran up to her with excitement in her eyes. The young woman could barely contain herself as she spoke. She said the message from Earth had special codes that activated something called Project Prometheus. Earth Command was actually going to use their most secret weapon. Director Cho nodded, but her face was grim and serious. It was a plan so dangerous that only the highest military commanders knew it existed. She told Kim to start the activation sequence. Then she looked at her assistant with worried eyes. She said once they crossed this line, there would be no going back to pretending humans were weak. Back on Earth, Ambassador Lee Sora stood in her private room looking at a picture of her daughter. The little girl was playing in the gardens of New Sol Colony where families lived in peace among the stars. The weight of what she had learned in her secret meeting with Admiral Kim felt like a heavy rock on her shoulders. The aliens' ultimatum was not just an attempt to control human expansion. It was an unconscious echo of something that had happened long before any of the current alien species had developed language or technology. Dr. Han was calling her. Ambassador Lee asked her friend to tell her something that could help avoid the terrible war that was coming. Dr. Han's voice was steady but Ambassador Lee could hear the fear underneath her calm words. Dr. Han said she had been studying genetic markers found in ancient dig sites on Earth. These markers suggested that human evolution had been influenced by something from outside Earth. She paused, and Ambassador Lee could hear the weight of terrible knowledge in her friend's silence. The influence had not come from any of the current alien species. It had come from something the aliens had destroyed long ago. Ambassador Lee felt like she had been hit by lightning. She asked if Dr. Han was saying what she thought she was saying. Dr. Han confirmed the worst fear. Humanity was not just another species that happened to develop faster than expected, was not luck or exceptional evolution. It was genetic memory finally waking up after being asleep for eons. All across human space, similar conversations were happening in hidden facilities and through secret communications. On Europa Research Station, Dr. Park Ginwoo stared at alien symbols carved into ruins that were millions of years older. Titan military strategist Colonel Lee Min-ae was looking at battle plans and tactics. After decades of secret research and carefully hidden discoveries, humanity's ancestors had been called the Architects. They were a species whose mastery of technology and rapid expansion across the galaxy had once challenged the aliens' power. The war between them had been so terrible that both sides had almost destroyed themselves. The aliens had finally won by using weapons so devastating they literally erased their enemies from existence. Or so they thought they had. Creatures on a distant world called True Potential. Admiral Kim received these reports from across human space with the grim satisfaction of a man whose worst fears had been confirmed. The aliens' fear of humanity was not based on simple hatred of outsiders or worry about territory. It was the instinctive terror of predators who suddenly realized their ancient prey had returned stronger than ever. He spoke to his assembled staff in a voice that carried the weight of millions of years of hidden history. He said the aliens were not trying to control an upstart species. They were trying to finish a war they thought they had won eons ago. The question was whether humans would let them succeed or remind the aliens why they had needed to destroy humanity's ancestors in the first place. Captain, he said if this was all true, then humanity was not just defending their right to exist in the alien galaxy, civilization. Admiral Kim nodded, and his expression became as hard as steel with resolve that had been building in humanity's genetic memory for millions of years. He said the aliens had just made the mistake of giving humans a reason to stop pretending they were anything less than what they really were. The descendants of the galaxy's former masters were about to remind everyone why the aliens had been so afraid of them that they tried to erase them from existence. Admiral Kim Dae stood before the emergency meeting of Earth's, moving into position to block all the space routes around human worlds. His voice carried the weight of humanity's future, and accept alien oversight like obedient children. Yang Soo-jin, of New Sol Colony, leaned forward in her chair. She said with respect that intelligence reports showed alien fleets gathering at the edge of every human system. They had humans outnumbered 3-1, and economic isolation alone could starve the outer colonies within months. Admiral Kim replied with a slight smile playing at the corners of his mouth. He said Governor Yang was thinking under the assumption that humans were the same species that first made contact with aliens 50 years ago. She was assuming that human rapid development and successful expansion were the result of exceptional luck rather than awakening genetic memory. The chamber fell silent as Admiral Kim activated a series of classified displays. Archaeological evidence flashed before them, showing ruins on dozens of worlds with advanced technology that was older than alien civilization. Genetic markers in human DNA matched ancient alien samples. Most shocking of all, weapon signatures from prehistoric battlefields matched the energy patterns of humanity's most advanced military prototypes. Admiral Kim continued explaining that the aliens were not trying to control newcomers. They were trying to finish exterminating their oldest enemy. Humans were the descendants of the architects, the species that once challenged alien dominance across the galaxy. Human ancestors were winning that war until the aliens used weapons so devastating they nearly destroyed the galaxy itself. Director Cho Hae-won's voice came through the quantum communicator from Mars, Colony 1. She said, Project Prometheus was fully activated. All deep space construction facilities were online and their hidden fleets were moving into position. The alien reconnaissance suggested they believed they were facing only humanity's visible military assets. Admiral Kim asked Commander Nam Kyung about the status of diplomatic preparation. Commander Nam was head of Earth's intelligence services, and he stood with barely contained excitement. He said their deep cover operatives had been in position throughout alien space for decades. Every major trade hub, military installation, and government facility had human agents who had been gathering intelligence while pretending to be merchants, technicians, and cultural exchange participants. The revelation sent surprised murmurs through the chamber. Many of the colony representatives had no idea that Earth had been preparing for this possibility since first contact, necessary to 70% of alien space. Human colonies did not just export raw materials. They had become the primary source of innovation, efficiency, improvements, and technological advancement across alien civilization. An economic blockade against humans would collapse the alien economy within weeks. Ambassador Lee Sora, participating from her position at alien headquarters, added her perspective. 3 species had already privately contacted the human embassy, expressing concerns about the blockades. Economic impact on their home systems. Admiral Kim nodded with satisfaction. Phase 1 of their response was already in motion. Human merchant. Ships had been quietly withdrawing from alien space over the past 6 months, taking with them the technical expertise that kept alien infrastructure functioning. By the time aliens realized what was happening, critical systems across their territory would begin failing. He pointed to a new display showing the galaxy-wide supply chain disruptions that were beginning to spread through alien space. Their experts estimated that within 2 weeks public unrest would begin on alien worlds as shortages of human-improved goods created civilian hardship. Alien people would begin questioning why their governments were attacking the species that had been improving their quality of life. Governor Park Soo-young of Aurora Colony raised her hand. She said this was all impressive, but he was still not addressing the fundamental military reality. Even if they damaged the alien economy, aliens still had superior numbers and firepower. Admiral Kim's smile widened. He said that brought them to the most satisfying part of their response. He asked Director Cho to explain project the aliens believed were uninhabited. Using asteroid mining operations as cover, they had built shipyards, weapons platforms, and fleet bases that did not appear on any alien star charts. The display changed to show 3-dimensional maps of human space. Instead of the 17 known colonies, it revealed 43 hidden installations spread across twice as many systems, using stealth technology that made them invisible to alien sensors. Director Cho continued explaining that their visible fleet of 3,000 ships was never intended to be their primary defense. It was a decoy to make aliens underestimate their true capabilities. Their hidden fleet numbered over 8,000 ships, incorporating technology that their awakening genetic memory had helped them develop far beyond what aliens believed possible. The chamber erupted in surprised conversation as colonial representatives realized the scope of humanity's preparation for this confrontation. She asked Admiral Kim how long he had been planning for this. Admiral Kim replied, since the day they made first contact, civilizations that maintained dominance through fear and suppression of potential rivals. They knew this confrontation was inevitable from the moment they encountered the alien. Rigid hierarchical structure and their fear of human rapid advancement, he turned to address the entire assembly. In 6 hours, the aliens expected humanity's formal surrender to their ultimatum. Instead, they were going to receive a demonstration of what happened when you threaten the descendants of the species that once made them tremble. Admiral Kim's expression hardened with ancestral determination. He said the aliens wanted to remind humans of their place in the cosmic order. Humans were going to remind aliens why their ancestors spent millions of years making sure humanity's ancestors never woke up. The alien trade hub at Nexus Station was busy with normal business activity as thousands of alien merchants, diplomats, and travelers moved through the massive space facility. The station was bigger than most cities and served as an important connection point for trade routes linking 12 different alien species territories. Its strategic importance made it the perfect location for humanity's response to the alien ultimatum. Commander Lee Jun-ho sat in the captain's chair of the UES Indomitable, a ship that officially did not exist according to alien intelligence. His vessel was one of 50 human ships that had been using advanced hiding technology to watch alien activities from within their own space for years. Around him, his crew of specialists prepared for an operation that would shatter the aliens. Understanding of human capabilities, Lieutenant Kim Na-young reported from the communication station that they were receiving final permission from Earth. Command Operation Mirror was approved for immediate execution. Commander Lee nodded grimly. Operation Mirror had been designed to show humanity's true capabilities without causing mass deaths, but its psychological impact would be devastating. To alien confidence, he told all stations to prepare for revealing themselves on his command. He reminded everyone that they were not there to start a war, but to end one before it began. On Nexus Station, the normal flow of business continued, unaware that 18 human ships had been watching and recording every detail of the facilities. Operations for months in the station's central command center, traffic controller. Vexnari monitored the thousands of ships moving through the system with practiced skill. His species had many arms like a spider and specialized in managing complex logistics. His assistant was a floating jellyfish-like being whose light-sensitive organs could detect quantum fluctuations. The assistant suddenly reported strange readings on sensors 7 through 12. Energy signatures consistent with something that should be impossible. Before Vexnari could respond, space around Nexus Station erupted with light as 18 massive human ships appeared from apparent nothingness. The ships hung in perfect formation around the station. Their sleek designs were unlike anything in the alien databases. Each ship bore the markings of the United Earth Defense Force, but their technology appeared centuries ahead of what aliens believed humans possessed. Commander Lee opened a communication, CHANNEL, that broadcast to every receiver in the system. He identified himself as Commander Lee Jun-ho of the United Earth Defense Force. He said they were there to deliver a message to the Galactic Council regarding their recent ultimatum to humanity. Panic spread throughout the station as aliens realized they were facing technology that should not exist. The human ships had appeared inside the station's defensive perimeter without triggering any warning systems. This demonstrated a level of technological sophistication that challenged everything aliens believed about human capabilities. On the station's command deck, Emergency Coordinator Tiska Lee frantically activated every defensive system available. She ordered all security ships to deploy and quantum shields to be raised. She demanded immediate emergency transmission to alien headquarters. Commander Lee's voice remained calm as his ships took no aggressive action, simply maintaining their positions around the station. He said they had been monitoring alien communications. They were not there to harm the station or its inhabitants. They were there to demonstrate that the alien understanding of human capabilities had been inadequate. The demonstration continued as human ships throughout alien space simultaneously revealed themselves around major installations, trade hubs, and military facilities. At each location, Earth ships appeared from stealth, delivered the same message, then vanished again before alien forces could respond. The coordinated nature of the operation revealed that humans had been operating undetected throughout alien territory. For years, on the alien homeworld, High Counselor Vexstar received emergency reports from dozens of systems at the same time. His three eyes widened in disbelief as he realized the scope of humanity's deception. The primitive newcomers they had planned to intimidate had been watching their most secure facilities with technology that made alien defenses appear obsolete. Vexmech !Tar demanded to know how this was possible from his military advisors. their intelligence, reports had indicated human technology was centuries behind alien technology. Chief Military Analyst Corvin studied the incoming data with growing alarm. He said preliminary analysis suggested human stealth technology was at least 500 years beyond their current capabilities. The energy signatures from human ships indicated power generation methods aliens did not understand. Their ability to coordinate simultaneous operations across multiple star systems suggested a communication network superior to alien systems. The reality of humanity's true capabilities was becoming clear to alien leadership as reports continued flowing in from across their territory. Human agents who had been pretending to be merchants, technicians, and cultural exchange participants were revealing themselves. This demonstrated that Earth had been gathering intelligence on alien weaknesses for decades. Back at Nexus, Station Commander Lee's demonstration reached its peak as his ships began displaying their true capabilities. The human ships moved through complex maneuvers that defied alien understanding of physics. Their hulls adapted to different energy frequencies, and their weapon systems, charged with power levels that made the station's defenses appear insignificant by comparison. Commander Lee announced that what they were witnessing represented a small fraction of humanity's actual military capabilities. The 3,000 ships alien intelligence services had cataloged were humanity's merchant, marine, and patrol craft. Their actual defense fleet numbered in the tens of thousands. Incorporated technology alien scientists would consider impossible, and had been positioned throughout the galaxy for years. The psychological impact of the demonstration was exactly what Earth Command had intended. Across alien space, alien civilians, and military personnel alike watched in stunned silence as human ships appeared and disappeared at will. They demonstrated mastery of technologies that challenged the fundamental assumptions of alien superiority. Commander Lee continued explaining that humanity's rapid expansion and adaptation were not the result of luck or exceptional circumstances. Humans were the awakened descendants of the architects. The species' alien ancestors believed they had completely destroyed human genetic memory had been guiding their development since first contact, and they had been preparing for this confrontation. For 50 years, the transmission ended as human ships throughout alien space simultaneously vanished back into stealth, leaving behind evidence of their presence, but no targets for retaliation. The message was clear. Humanity had been operating within alien territory with complete freedom gathering intelligence and positioning assets while maintaining the pretense of being harmless newcomers. On Earth, Admiral Kim Dae watched the reports of successful demonstrations. Flowing in from across the galaxy, Phase 2 of humanity's response was complete, and the psychological impact on alien leadership was already becoming apparent as panic spread through their command structure. Captain Park Min-ho reported that they were receiving communication requests from 17 different alien species. It appeared some of them were interested in opening separate negotiations rather than maintaining the united front against humans. Admiral Kim smiled with satisfaction. Fear and doubt were spreading through the alien alliance faster than they had expected. The aliens were beginning to realize that they had awakened something far more dangerous than they ever imagined. High Counselor Vextar paced the length of the alien chamber, his massive claws leaving scratch marks in the crystal floor as panic and blame filled the air around him. The emergency meeting had been called after reports of human demonstrations reached every corner of alien space, revealing the terrible scope of their mistake. Regarding humanity's true capabilities, Vextar's voice carried the dangerous edge of barely controlled fury as he demanded an explanation. He wanted to know how. An entire species had been operating undetected throughout their territory for decades. He wanted to know how their intelligence services failed to identify technology that made their most advanced systems appear primitive by comparison. Counselor Zefric coiled nervously in his seat, his snake-like form showing the fear that was spreading through the alien leadership. He said their agents reported exactly what they observed. Human colonies appeared to be standard farming and mining settlements. Their visible military consisted of conventional ships using technology consistent with a developing space-traveling civilization. Vextar roared that what they observed was a carefully constructed deception. His claws slammed against the table, hard enough to crack the ancient crystal. While they were congratulating themselves on intimidating newcomers, humans were positioning fleets throughout their space and gathering intelligence on their most classified installations. Chief Intelligence, Director Morthok, provided the most disturbing update yet. His shadowy species specialized in espionage, and even he was shaken by what they had discovered. He said their analysis of the demonstration revealed that human agents had infiltrated virtually every level of alien society. The merchants who improved their trade efficiency, the technicians who enhanced their manufacturing processes, the cultural exchange participants who studied their histories, all of them were gathering intelligence for Earth. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. For 50 years, the aliens had believed they were observing humanity's development while secretly preparing to limit their expansion when necessary. Instead, humanity had been studying them, learning their weaknesses and positioning assets for exactly this confrontation. Morthok continued saying, preliminary analysis of human ship capabilities suggested technology at least centuries beyond their current understanding. Human stealth systems made their detection networks useless. Their power generation exceeded theoretical maximums, and their coordination abilities indicated a communication network that operated faster than their best quantum systems. Counselor Tessara, representing one of the more militant species, attempted to maintain the aggressive stance that had led to this disaster. She said, regardless of human capabilities, they could not allow a single species to dictate terms to the established galactic order. Their combined fleets still outnumbered human-known ships. The absurdity of the statement caused bitter laughter from several alien members. Counselor Vexnal, whose species specialized in tactical analysis, provided the devastating reality check. He said human-known ships were deliberately revealed to deceive them about their true capabilities. Intelligence now suggested their actual fleet might outnumber alien combined forces by a significant margin, and every one of their ships incorporated technology aliens could not currently counter. Meanwhile, across alien space, the economic consequences of humanity's withdrawal were beginning to spread through civilian populations. On the industrial world of Kethmora factories that had relied on human-improved manufacturing processes ground to a halt as critical components failed without Earth's technical support. On the trade hub of Nexus Prime, shortages of human goods created supply chain disruptions that affected billions of alien civilians. Governor Park Soo-young of Aurora Colony received reports from Earth's intelligence network that painted a picture of growing chaos throughout alien territory. She reported to Admiral Kim that their agents indicated increasing civil unrest on 12 alien worlds as populations began experiencing the economic impact of the trade disruption. Public opinion was shifting rapidly against the governments that initiated this confrontation. Admiral Kim studied the reports with satisfaction. Humanity's economic integration with alien civilization had been deliberately designed to create exactly this leverage. Phase 3 was proceeding as planned. The alien leadership may have initiated this confrontation, but their civilian populations were beginning to understand the cost of threatening Earth. The psychological warfare component of humanity's response was proving equally effective. Dr. Han Yujin's archaeological evidence was being spread through human intelligence networks, revealing to alien populations that their governments had been hiding the truth about humanity's origins for 50 years. The revelation that humans were the descendants of the legendary architects, the species that had once challenged alien dominance, was causing fundamental shifts in how alien civilizations viewed the current crisis. Commander Nam Kyung reported that they were receiving formal communication requests from 7 alien species seeking separate negotiations. 3 of them were offering to provide intelligence on alien military positions in exchange for continued trade relationships. Admiral Kim nodded with grim satisfaction. The alliance that took thousands of years to build was breaking apart in a matter of days. Fear of humanity's capabilities, economic dependence on human trade, and the revelation of human true origins were destroying the unity aliens needed to maintain their ultimatum. Back in the alien chamber, the debate had turned into blame and desperate attempts to salvage a catastrophic situation. High Counselor Vexstar found himself facing the collapse of everything the aliens had built over millions of years of galactic dominance. Chief Military Strategist Corvin announced they had 3 options. First, they could attempt military action against human space despite their demonstrated technological superiority. Second, they could withdraw their ultimatum and attempt to negotiate a face-saving compromise. Third, they could acknowledge that humanity had become the dominant power in this region of the galaxy and attempt to negotiate terms for peaceful coexistence. The silence that followed was broken by Counselor Zephric's bitter observation. He said they were being asked to choose between suicide, humiliation, and surrender. How had they arrived at this position when dealing with a species that made first contact only 50 years ago? A new voice came from the chambers. Communication system. They turned in shock to see Ambassador Lee Sora's image appearing in the center of their chamber. Her presence was unauthorized but apparently unstoppable given humanity's demonstrated technological advantages. Vexstar growled that she was not invited to this session. Ambassador Lee replied with calm dignity that, given they had issued an ultimatum demanding human surrender, normal diplomatic protocols seemed somewhat irrelevant. She was there to deliver Earth's formal response to their demands. The chamber fell, silent as the aliens prepared to hear whether humanity would offer terms for peace or demonstrate why their ancestors had once been the galaxy's most feared species. Ambassador Lee's expression hardened with ancestral determination. She said Earth's response was simple. They rejected the ultimatum completely. They would not reduce their fleet's surrender, their colonies, or accept oversight from species who had proven themselves incapable of coexisting with equals. She paused, meeting the eyes of each alien member. However, they were prepared to offer terms for peaceful coexistence provided the aliens understood that the age of alien dominance in this galaxy had ended. The descendants of the architects had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same again. 3 months after the alien ultimatum, the galaxy had settled into a new reality that no one could have predicted when the crisis began. The ancient crystal halls of the alien chamber now hosted negotiations unlike any in galactic history. Humanity sat not as newcomers seeking acceptance, but as equals, dictating terms to former overlords. Ambassador Lee Sora stood before the Reformed Council Assembly, representing not just Earth, but humanity's 43 revealed colony systems and the vast network of installations that had emerged from stealth following the crisis. The chamber itself had been restructured with human representatives, now holding permanent seats alongside the alien species who had once considered themselves humanity's superiors. Ambassador Lee announced the reading of the Galactic Cooperation Accord. This document would reshape relations between star systems for thousands of years to come. The Accord established the fundamental principle that no single species or alliance of species could dictate expansion limits, military capabilities, or territorial sovereignty to any other space-traveling civilization. High Counselor Vexstar signed the Accord with clause that shook slightly. His once imposing presence had been diminished by the events of recent months. The psychological impact of discovering humanity's true capabilities had shattered the confidence that had maintained alien authority for ages. The Alien Council formally accepted these terms and recognized humanity as a co-equal power in galactic affairs. The irony was not lost on those who understood the full scope of what had happened, and control had revealed themselves to be the descendants of their ancestors' greatest enemy. They had returned with technology and capabilities that made alien forces appear primitive by comparison. Director Cho-Hae-1 transmitted from Mars Colony 1, where the massive shipyards that had built humanity's hidden fleet were now operating. Openly, they were constructing ships for the new galactic order. She reported that joint technology sharing programs were proceeding ahead of schedule. 17 alien species had requested access to human manufacturing techniques, while human scientists were beginning to understand some of the more complex alien technologies that were previously restricted. The transformation had been remarkable in its speed and scope. Within weeks of humanity's demonstration, the rigid hierarchical structure that had defined galactic civilization for millions of years had given way to cooperative partnerships based on mutual benefit rather than fear-based dominance. Admiral Kim Dae reviewed reports from across human space, watching as Earth's colonies openly expanded their operations. While maintaining the defensive capabilities that had made the recent victory possible, the interesting development was how quickly former alien member species adapted to the new reality. Fear of human capabilities had been replaced by eager cooperation. In most cases, Dr. Han Yuzhen, history. She said the joint expeditions to architect ruins were revealing technologies that even human awakened genetic memory had forgotten. With alien cooperation rather than concealment, they were uncovering innovations that could benefit all species. In the galaxy, the economic transformation had been equally dramatic. Human trade networks, no longer constrained by alien restrictions, had expanded throughout the galaxy, while maintaining partnerships with alien species who had chosen cooperation over confrontation. The civilizations that had attempted to isolate humanity economically found themselves isolated. Instead, as their populations demanded access to the technologies and opportunities that Earth offered, Commander Nam Kyung reported on the intelligence networks that continued operating throughout former alien space. Their mission had evolved from gathering information for potential conflict to monitoring compliance with the new cooperative agreements. Response humanity had demonstrated 3 months ago. The most significant change, however, was psychological. The revelation that humanity represented the return of the galaxy. The comfortable assumption of alien superiority had been replaced by the humbling recognition that they had been living in a galaxy shaped by forces they had never understood. Governor Yang Sujin of New Seoul Colony provided updates on the expansion programs that were now proceeding without interference. She said they had received colonization requests from 47 systems that were previously off-limits under alien restrictions. The benefits of human development techniques. Ambassador Lee smiled as she reviewed the transformation that had taken place across known space. The galaxy that had once been ruled by fear and rigid hierarchy was becoming something new, a place where different species could work together and learn from each other rather than fighting for dominance over one another. The alien species that had once considered themselves the masters of the galaxy were discovering that cooperation with humanity brought benefits they had never imagined. Human innovation and adaptability, combined with alien knowledge and experience, was creating technological and social advances that no single species could have achieved alone. Admiral Kim reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. From the moment aliens delivered their ultimatum to the current era of cooperation, the transformation had been guided by humanity's awakening understanding of their true heritage. The genetic memory of the architects had not just provided technology and tactical knowledge, but wisdom about how to build lasting peace rather than temporary dominance. The new galactic order was not based on one species ruling over others, but on the recognition that diversity and cooperation made everyone stronger. Human colonies continued to expand, but now they did so as partners with alien civilizations rather than despite their opposition. Trade flowed freely between systems. We're uncovering secrets of the universe that had been hidden for millions of years. Diplomatic exchanges were building understanding between species that had once viewed each other with suspicion and fear. Dr. Han's archaeological teams working alongside alien researchers were discovering that the architects had not been conquerors seeking to dominate the galaxy. They had been explorers and innovators seeking to understand and preserve the diversity of life among the stars. Their conflict with the ancestors of the current alien species had been a tragic misunderstanding that led to unnecessary destruction. The new accord included provisions to ensure such misunderstandings could never happen again. Communication. Protocols were established to prevent conflicts before they began. Economic partnerships were structured to make war unprofitable for all parties. Most importantly, a shared commitment to exploration and discovery gave all species common goals to work toward together. As Ambassador Lee, humanity had not conquered the galaxy through force, but had transformed it through the power of revealed truth and demonstrated capability. The descendants of the architects had returned not as conquerors, but as builders of a better future for all species among the stars. The galaxy would never again be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had hoped to achieve.